Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Men for the Win is sponsored by the Grand Group with Edina Realty. Are you looking to purchase a new home in the Twin Cities area? Or perhaps you're trying to sell your current home? Whether you're upsizing or downsizing, the Grand Group with Edina Realty will meet all of your housing needs. Contact the Grand Group by emailing thegrand, G-R-A-N, group at edinarealty.com or call them by phone at 612-817-8751. The Grand Group with Edina Realty, 7-time Minneapolis-St. Paul Magazine Super Agent Award winners. Men for the Win is part of the Pulltab Sports Network, covering sports, culture, and entertainment across the Midwest. Check them out at pulltabsports.com and give them a follow on all your social media platforms at Pulltab Sports. Hey folks, just to let you know what's happening here. So last night I had a power outage which prevented me from actually editing and posting the episode. So as I was editing and about to post this episode, the news came through that Chris Paddack and Randy Dobnak had been traded to the Tigers. So Dan and I hopped on a call real quick, recorded a brief segment about our thoughts about this trade and what this means for the rest of the deadline. After that, we'll get to our normal recap about the National Series. Just keep in mind, we didn't know about the Dobnak. I say Dobnak because he was more important. the Dobnak slash Paddack trade prior to recording. So thanks so much for listening. Enjoy. Dan Thompson, the floodgates have opened. The first Twins move of the trade deadline is here. Chris Paddack and Randy Dobnak, which, Dan, I have to be honest, not a name I thought I was going to see across the waiver wire this time of the season, are headed to the Tigers, a divisional foe, Dan.
I know some of the conversation we have later about whether they can catch the Tigers is going to play differently, I think, based on this. But yeah, so the Twins have traded two pitchers, Randy Dobnak and Chris Paddack, to the Tigers for prospect Enrique Jimenez, who you can find him somewhere in the teen rankings amongst Tigers prospects, but he's a catcher. He's only 19 years old, I believe. He's a pretty younger guy. So we'll see. I guess it adds some depth to the Twins farm system. I think we have to remember that with these trades, it's really about like raising the whole, like the level of skill in your farm system up. Yes. And so sometimes what that means is that you get a guy as a lower prospect, but he increases, in this case, the catcher pool amongst all of the Twins minor league system. So you're getting some value where you wouldn't. But I also think this raises questions about who's going to start baseball games for the Twins here over the next, 2 months.
I think there's going to be some bullpen games, Dan, because the thing is, anytime that the Twins are running short of pitchers, what do we always say? Bring up our guy Dobnak. Call his name, man. He's there. He's ready to make starts. You can't do that anymore, Dan.
You can't. And so I suppose that means we're going to see more of some of the other pitching prospects that they have at AAA. And I do think that they will add somebody like a Marco Raya or somebody else, maybe. Andrew Morris, I believe, is another name out there too. So we'll just have to see. But it makes me sad. But I guess this clearly shows that there's going to be more trades after this.
I can't imagine this is the only one they make. It's sort of like, they say pistachios, you can't have just one, right? Or is it, what is that, Pringles? Once you have one,
well,
you can't.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
All kinds of things. Yeah. That's the whole point of advertising.
Yeah.
You can't just have one.
So I think it's the same way with the trade deadline here for the Twins here. This was not a one-time and then we're going to be done for the deadline. I think everybody who's on a walk here is gone, Dan, before the end of the deadline.
Also, Bobby Nightingale, who works for the Star Tribune, tweeted that the Twins saved about $3.5 million from this trade. Part of that is Dobnak. I mean, there's some significance there. And then he mentions 5 more players who could reach free agency at the end of the season. Willie Castro, who we've seen a lot of things about speculation-wise. Harrison Bader, Danny Coulomb, Christian Vasquez, and Ty France. So, yeah, probably the first of many deals now as they head into this Red Sox series and then beyond.
All kidding aside here, I hope that Randy Dobnak gets the chance to start and make some appearances for the Tigers. I think the guy could do it, Dan. Like, at one point, he was successful in the major leagues. I don't know why he can't do it again.
He started a playoff game, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
So,
I don't really want to remember that, but yeah, he did do that.
The hours before were fun, right?
The
anticipation. So that's all we got, I think, about this trade. We hope you enjoy the rest of the episode, and we'll see kind of how the Twins go in this Red Sox series.
On this episode, David and Dan recap the Twins' 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win. My name is David Kufis. With me, as always, is Dan Thompson. The Twins dropped 2 of 3 at Target Field against a struggling Washington Nationals team who is currently 5th in the NL East. Dan, I gotta be honest, the more I look at the divisions around baseball, the less and less I have to care about our Minnesota Twins' hopes of making the postseason.
David, I'm not yet ready to quite give up on them.
With all due respect, sir, I believe this is going to be our finest hour.
But I don't quite know why. Like, you would think it would be enough to lose a series to the Rockies. And then it's one of the maddening things about baseball, I suppose, where the best that they have played is against clearly the best of the teams that they have lost to here since the All-Star break. But you lose 3 straight series out of the gate. We'll talk about kind of the ramifications of that and why we think that is. But I just think this is a disheartening series. You got to win at least 2 of these.
You probably needed to sweep, honestly, in order to really make an impact on the front office's decisions come the trade deadline. Because at this point, it's like you lost 2 of 3 to the Dodgers. You probably could have won 1. But the Rockies' losses, Dan, the Rockies' losses are what really your nail in your coffin there. They're the worst team in baseball, and you only managed to win 1 against them.
Well, and then they had I thought it was a uniform debacle this weekend.
Yes!
Wearing those old school M's with the Twin Cities and all the new stuff. This didn't work. And like, you and I are allowed to mix and match, I think, when we're wearing and getting ready for the podcast. I'm wearing a St. Paul Saints hat right now, for goodness sake, with my City Connect. But like, and I'm no fashionista, of course, David, but I looked at that and I thought that was a terrible look.
I was very frustrated because I love that retro M, right? Like, I have a lot of fond memories with that logo, but they have so many other choices. Like Saturday with the Twins and the M, perfect. That looked really nice.
Sure.
But then they repeated. Why that, Dan? This is what I don't understand. Why would you repeat using the Twin Cities jerseys on Sunday with the same hat combination that clearly nobody liked on Friday? It was disgusting.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm a little confused by your tactics.
Maybe they thought that was going to will them to a victory in Game 3. If they just dressed the same, then maybe they would play the same.
Oof, man, I don't even know they played all that well on Friday. We'll get into that here. One quick happy note, because the rest of this episode is going to be sad. The Twins players had this cool event where they brought in a bunch of kids who are sick from Children's Gillette, and they had this sort of, instead of an autograph signing where the Twins were signing autographs for the kids signed autographs for the players. They had like little baseball cards and stuff of the kids. Really cool. I love it when players are doing that, just to show that they're outreaching to the community and making an impact with kids who are really having a tough time.
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
It's a tear-jerking moment. 2 other quick things. So they gave away an Ober jersey on Saturday. This has always bothered me that they don't have more. They have like 2 sizes, right? They have like kid and then like XL or something.
Yeah.
It can't be that hard to just size it a little bit and just like ask people what size they want. Is it not? I mean, surely they can run the numbers and figure this out, can't they?
Well, I think what you should do here is move the collection item area a little further back than the gate so people can get in. And if you don't care to get a jersey, you just go on your way. But then if you want to wait in line for the giveaway, you line up in the size that you'd like to have, certainly. But yeah, it is really frustrating. And for me, Dan, a big guy, they're never going to have a shirt that's my size, Dan. I gotta staple some of those XLs together in the hope to get that to work. But so for me, I'm always usually getting a shirt for my wife or for a buddy, right? Or my brother or something. And so it's like, what's the point?
You're a good guy to know when you go to these giveaways, David, right? Like,
yeah.
If I was a 6'3", 215-pound guy, like that would be the perfect thing, is you could give me all of your giveaways, but it's not how we are.
Unfortunately, Dan, no such luck for you. With that, actually, no, I have to ask about this because it's been on the note sheet here for a couple of episodes now. We've never talked about it. Dan has a big issue with the word velo. When anybody's talking about velocity, he hates that it sometimes is shortened to velo.
I'm playing that for myself here, David.
Okay, so Dan, will you please explain to us?
So
this is a very similar complaint Dan has that I'm going to let him have the floor about.
So we've been traveling a lot in July, and we've been eating at restaurants maybe more often than not. And I run into sections on menus that just say Sando. There's no O in sandwich. I don't understand why the O. Like, is it just like sand and then something comes after? We're just going to put the O sound there? Like, velocity makes a little sense. The sounds don't work, but the letters work. But with this one, it's like, no, use the full term sandwich. I don't understand why this is so much hard. It doesn't take that much more space on the menu. It's already a header. Like, you don't need, like, come on, this is not difficult.
Fans wanted attention. There he goes.
And that was Gardy's Gripe.
Dan, I don't even know that I can get worked up enough to respond to you on this particular issue. I mean, I would love to, but I don't have the energy. And also, quick note before we jump into the recap. Thank you, Hogs, for filling in for me. I'm still struggling, folks. You can probably hear it in my voice a little bit, but it was going to be a rough record if I tried to get down on Thursday here. So I was very thankful that Hogs could fill in for me.
Well, this is your last episode, too, for a week or so, because then you're going on your board game trip. Hogs and I get our annual trade deadline discussion episodes.
Every time.
We should trademark that, I think. So we're excited. excited for you to have a good time there. I guess I can never go with you because then I mean, would I bring my recording stuff and we would just huddle over one microphone? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, it'd be good. We could be playing a game while we're recording. It's good.
There we go.
Let's go ahead and jump into the recap, Dan.
Series recap.
Game 1, Twins win this one 1-0. The only real bright spot in the series, a very defensive game. The National starter Mackenzie Gore had 6 walks, which is really the only reason the Twins were able to do anything against him. It limits him to 5 innings, though, those walks, even though he was pitching pretty well. Zebby, though, Dan, nearly perfect. 2 hits, no walks, no earned runs, 7 Ks through 6. I thought he might have been able to do one more inning. I thought Rocco was going to give him the opportunity, but that's his first no-run appearance in 15 career starts, Dan.
He looked awesome, and good for him. If not for this year, then next year. If the Twins end up being sellers here, then Zebby Matthews is going to get a great extended audition here to be in this rotation next year. I'm not ready totally in my mind to pivot to thinking about this team just like that, but it is obviously super encouraging. And then for the bullpen to kind of take care of business, they go with Coulomb, Jackson, Duran after the implosion that they had against the Dodgers, specifically Jax. So that was really good to see. Really, the Twins were able to just kind of, the one run is enough. You don't figure that a sac fly by Buxton's going to do it, but that was really all they needed.
No, thank goodness. In the bottom of the 5th here with 1 out, Wallner walks, Lee walks, and then ball 4 actually was a wild pitch to Lee, which allowed Wallner to get to 3rd. And I think there were a couple of players who didn't understand that Wallner could advance, because some of the National players were like, he can't do that. He walked. And it's like, no, the ball's in the backstop. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, this is baseball. This is the sport they have played since boyhood. Like,
yeah.
You would think that you would know that rule, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wallner knew what was up and Watkins knew what was up, but it did seem like there was some confusion on the national side of things. But bottom 6, Twins had another opportunity when they loaded the bases, but they don't score. That included a Lewis double to the left field corner. I think, Dan, your conversation last episode about Royce Lewis was spot on. And
thank you.
Full disclosure here, I was a little concerned. I was writing my notes because we always kind of give feedback when we're not on the show. We send it to each other. I wrote so many notes that Hogs would later say almost word for word later in the episode. I don't care to have that close a relationship in thinking with Andrew Hogs Hoganson. I was really hoping we were on different wavelengths, but it was like I was on the show, Dan.
Well, sometimes it does feel that way with the many times that we take shots at you throughout, too.
Yes.
So,
have you no joy in your life? Is there no song in your heart?
But game 2 then turned south quickly, and just an unfortunate time for Joe Ryan to have a poor start. He only goes 5 innings, 5 runs, 4 earned. You could argue maybe it should have been fewer earned.
Yes.
We'll have to come back to that a little bit later. But 6 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, just kind of laboring. He's labored through starts before, but the runs kind of got by him this time. National scored once in the 3rd, again in the 4th, and then got 3 in the top of the 5th, partially because of an error by Brooks Lee.
My back!
We will talk about that. And in short, the error loaded the bases with no outs, and then C.J. Abrams cleared them with a double.
5-0 Nationals at that point. Bottom of the 6th, the Twins finally score on an RBI single by Lewis, who again, he just looks like he's having fun, Dan. I hate to keep hitting on the same point, but to me, he looks like he's not thinking about what if my hamstring gives out. And I think that's what I was noticing in these other games, is just that it just looked like he was constantly concerned about what could go wrong.
I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school.
Well, he stole the base in the last series too. I mean, he is running. At the same time, if he gets hurt now, maybe it doesn't matter, right? Because then it's just the end of the year. But maybe this is for a later segment. But just ponder this. How meaningful would it be if he finishes the season strong, and how good we would feel then about 2026? Heck, he could even will them a little bit closer, and at least keep at the end of the season interesting, despite whatever they might do at the trade deadline.
Maybe.
Maybe a bit too much for...
Could be. Might be pushing it.
You underestimate my power.
He can do it. He can do anything.
Top of the 7th, though, Buxton, he had earlier made a great catch against the wall. He exits with a left side injury, which is a very hockey way to talk about an injury. It's like, you know how hockey's like, it's either the upper body or the lower body. They never give you what it is. It's like Buxton's left side hurt somewhere. We're not really sure where.
Not the right side, but the left side. Yeah, maybe they should. That's how they should do all injury updates. Instead of cutting people across the middle of the horizontal, they can cut them down the vertical. That would make things at least a little bit more interesting.
Definitely. Well, Topa and Funderburk each pitched 2 innings, but also allowed a combined 4 runs. Again, at this point, it didn't really matter. And then bottom of the 8th, Twins get 1 run on a Wallner RBI sac fly to score Bader. But that's all she wrote, Dan. And then you're looking to Game 3, and going into Game 3, it's going to be a tall task because you don't really have a starter. I don't fully understand this, Dan. And maybe it is just truly Rocco's thinking, I think, is that, okay, we're going to have Adams be the bulk pitcher, but we don't want him to have to go through the order for a third time, so we're going to start with an opener. Does it really matter? Honestly, it feels a little bit semantics. He's either going to pitch well or he's not. Just let him start the game. And I think, honestly, it'd give him, you're the one who's always talking about confidence for SWR.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let Adams start the game here. I'm getting into my Rocco stuff a little bit too much, but let Ryan start the game here, Dan, and then see what he can do. He's either going to pitch well or he's not. I don't think we need to mess around with his opener stuff, especially because now you start Adams in a hole because Cole Sands forgot what he was supposed to be doing on the mound.
But earlier, I think it was the Pirates series. Wasn't it the Buxton cycle game? I mean, Adams came in the second or third inning and he had like a 6-0 lead. So that is a confidence boost right there. But yeah, this does not bode well. Well, we can run through this quickly. There's not much to say. The Nationals win this 7-2. Sands starts or opens, depending on the verb you want to choose here. Coulomb comes in, gives up a run, actually. I'm pretty sure Dan Hayes would characterize that as hurting his trade stock.
Yes, of course.
More than he would hurting the Twins' opportunity to win this baseball game. But the plan doesn't work, as we talked about. Sands and Coulomb each allow a run. Adams allows 5 in his 3 innings in the middle. And then the Twins match the first 2, but not the rest. They get a 451-foot home run by Matt Wallner that I think hit off the target center wall. And then a second on a Larnach sac fly. He was batting first in the lineup because Buxton was not playing. The Twins also struggled against Bloomington native Jake Irvin, who has his best start in 2 months, of course. I feel like we've been saying that a lot about opposing pitchers. He goes 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 2 strikeouts only. Very odd. 5 hits and no walks. So good on you, Jake Irvin, but really frustrating that it came against the Twins.
You know what else is frustrating, Dan? You're in a meeting at work. You're connected to the online meeting and your internet keeps dropping. And let's say it's important, Dan. It's not just with your coworkers, your colleagues. It's with an outside vendor. And you don't have a good internet connection, Dan. That is so embarrassing. There's a way to fix that, though, Dan. Listen up, Minnesota. There's a new high-speed sheriff in town. Gateway Fiber has landed in Blaine, Brooklyn Park, Champlain, Coon Rapids, Maple Grove, and Plymouth, with plans to expand deeper into Minnesota. Gateway Fiber boasts a fiber optic network that exceeds the capabilities of some of the biggest players in the business, giving you more whiz for less cost for all of your online working, streaming, gaming, and whatevering. With no hidden fees, no data caps, and no installation fees, Gateway Fiber is perfect for your home or business. Go to gatewayfiber.com to get fast, reliable, and affordable high-speed fiber internet.
Catch 'em all, Kirby Puckett!
Puckett's Picks winner.
Now, there was potentially going to be some grief given here by Hogs if things didn't work out this way for the listeners. My boys who were with me in Los Angeles picked for the listeners, and they picked Royce Lewis. That proved to be a good pick. I guess, the best pick amongst the available options, right, David? So they get 5 points, which does hold up as the team high bonus.
I looked at these box scores for like a good 10 minutes to make sure that nobody had more than 5, and nobody did.
No, and it's that actually ties for the lowest high, if that makes sense, over the course of the year here. Hogs picked Vasquez and had 2 points. You picked Correa, who had 2. I think Vasquez actually won on the tiebreak here because he had fewer strikeouts. So... and I picked Buxton, and I had the misfortune. He had the misfortune, and I kind of rode the coattails of his misfortune, I think, and had -1 points. So, David, now things are getting interesting in the season standings. Since you've been sitting doing nothing, the listeners have stepped up.
Just relaxing over here for me, Dan. I'm just biding my time. I need something to keep me interested for the end of the season here. I'm going to have a great comeback. But now Hogs is still in the lead with 13.5. Dan's in second with 10. The listeners now with 9, and then I'm just chilling in the back, Dan, 7.5. When you win Puckett's Picks as many times as I have, it's good to just sort of sit back.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that.
Beast versus Bench.
Is losing fun? Is losing fun?
So Harrison Bader is in an interesting spot here, right? And if Byron Buxton is hurt and he is out for a bit, I think that adds an interesting wrinkle here to the trade deadline, because I would argue that they need to keep Harrison Bader around then so he can play center field.
It doesn't matter, Dan.
Why don't you think it matters? Do you want DK Jr. out there in center field?
What my point is that if you're going to trade Bader, regardless, let's say they were going to trade Bader and Buxton's healthy, you're already saying we're not really trying. So, and to me, the guy you should keep is Harrison Bader, because I think he's been a good addition, and now you have your backup for Buxton for next season. So I don't really like that so many people are like, well, he's in a walk year. Well, no, he's got a mutual option. And for me, I don't think there's any reason why he wouldn't want to re-sign here, unless he thinks he can get more money than what his current contract is worth.
That would be the reason. He could get
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be worth more money or not, Dan. I guess if the assumption is that, yes, he's not going to sign with a mutual option because he thinks he's worth more money, then sure, let him go and we can consider this a walk here. I kind of wonder if there is an option to keep Bader, even if they have to pay him a little bit more to keep him for another season.
Well, he's my beast anyway. He got on base 5 times in the series and just kind of the one bright spot, really. Well, one of the bright spots offensively. Who did you go with?
Yeah, so I went with Matthews, man. Zebby pitched so well, and honestly, showing that this team can win when Joe Ryan isn't starting, which is sort of hilarious, is great. Knowing that Pablo and Ober are still working their way back. I think that Ober should return later this week to the rotation. Keaschall also, it sounds like, is looking good for a potential return, which I think would be big boost to the lineup. We're going to talk about Keaschall a little bit later here.
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
Which actually, I'm going to segue myself, Dan, into my bench then. I got to give it to Joe Ryan. Like, here's the deal. I know that we're putting a ton of pressure on that guy because we're basically saying you need to pitch lights out because it's the only way this team is going to win any baseball games. But at the same time, this was rough against a Nationals team that the guys who did damage in the Ryan start, it wasn't even necessarily their big boppers, right? Like, it was all across the lineup. The guys are getting hits. So you had Garcia Jr., who had the big ones here, really. But outside of that, go down the lineup, Dan, it's their 7, 8, and 9 hitters who are the ones doing damage against Joe Ryan. What on earth?
Yeah, they had 7 hits in that game against. Yeah. It may not have all been against Joe Ryan, but yeah, that's a fair critique. For my bench spot, I went with Travis Adams, which feels very unfair, especially after the way we've talked about him here. But you have a chance here, Travis Adams, to not just pitch well for yourself, but pitch well for your team in a spot that they really need you right now. And so it's just a shame that it was a missed opportunity, I guess, for all parties involved. And I do think, yeah, he does have a point. Can you not just start the game? I mean, it's not like they're facing the Dodgers lineup where that top 5 is so good. And yeah, you probably want to avoid seeing those guys 3 times. This is the Nationals, for goodness sake. They're like a 42-win team. They're on their second manager of the season. So that was, all that ties together. That's why I'm putting Travis on my bench.
No, I think that makes sense. And Woods is a very good baseball player. But other than that, it's fine. Throw the ball, see what happens. Let's keep going here. Rocco's Rewind.
Rocco's Rewind.
So I can't decide who should go first here.
I know.
Normally it's pretty clear who should go first in each segment. I think you should start, here.
This is a very nebulous question because I didn't feel like there were any big decisions that Rocco made, but it was just like I have 2. What's he supposed to do? But why didn't they win? I don't understand why they didn't win this series. They should have won this series, right? There's no reason. You're at home against a bad team and you need to win. So win. Why? Why don't you win?
Folks, if you don't know, Dan is a sports reporter. That's sort of like his second job. Dan, have you ever asked a guy in a post-game press conference, why didn't you win? I don't know how well that would go.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's really the question I'm asking. He's tell me about this game, coach, that you lost. I want them to tell me why they lost. But could they not just ask Rocco, why didn't you guys win this game?
Here's the thing. Why you lost versus why didn't you win? Those are the same question, but they're very different, Dan. It's a very different way to ask that question.
So do you have an answer? I don't understand why they didn't win.
Lack of offensive production and your pitching was subpar in games 2 and 3.
And why was that? That's the thing. Why, especially the offense? You score, 6 runs in this series? You should be able to win this. You give up 16. How dispiriting, Rocco.
Yeah, so 0 for 5 in game 1 with runners in scoring position, 1 for 12 in game 2, and then 0 for 4 in game 3. That's embarrassing. That's a sad statistic to be looking at.
So then you have a question that I guess I'm excited to answer. I think I have an answer now.
So there was so much talk at a couple of different points during this season about Rocco losing his job. Do you think Rocco Baldelli is surprised that he is still managing this baseball team at this point in the season?
I don't think he's surprised because he surely believes in the approach that he's taking and then the approach that he and Derek Falvey are taking.
Well, I just think you can believe in something and still realize there's going to be consequences for that belief, Dan. Yeah. I believe I can eat an entire meat lover's pizza, but I can know the consequence of that is going to be heartburn and I'm not going to be able to sleep that night.
Ogres are like onions.
True. Well, but don't you think that you're so in it that you just can't imagine why somebody would fire you? You can only think of the good reasons that you're the manager and not
so.
The reasons.
So you don't think he's I understand what you're saying that he has a belief, but I can't sign on to this perspective that he's so in it. He's never once thought, should I really have this job at this point?
I don't think that he has the self-doubt in that way. I guess I just questioned his methods. I questioned the laissez-faire approach here, where in year 6 or 7 now of Rocco is a long time.
This is France.
So I just wonder, at some point, Rocco, I guess I don't think he's a great manager. I just don't. There's nothing here that suggests to me top 10. This is he's Sam Darnold, right? He's a fine enough manager to make you competitive. Right, but there's nobody that thinks Sam Darnold's
gonna win
a Super Bowl.
Terrible
right?
comparison.
No, it's not.
Because Sam Darnold's season with the I think you'd have to go with a different quarterback if you're going to use quarterback because Sam Darnold's season with the Vikings was so good and unexpected. Like that's not what Rocco is.
So what quarterback would then he be?
I'm trying to think of like a serviceable like a Russell Wilson between the Super Bowl win, like the last 3 seasons of his contract with the Seahawks. That's I guess maybe who I'd go with.
It's hard because I want him to be better, but I just don't see it. Like I just don't see how he's going to be a better manager. I just don't think his approach is working well enough. Because if it's working, why do you lose 3 out of 9 here coming out of the gate?
I just love that this is your question. Why do you guys keep losing? Why don't you just win games?
But it's baffling. It's the question that nobody can answer, right? I mean, like, they should be good. You can't blame everything on injuries.
It's not hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
I feel like I'm just rambling through this. But I am not surprised that he still has the job, but I don't think he's going to have a job when the ownership changes. Because I think ownership's going to look at the body of work and say, I think that we can bring in a guy, and Falvey too. I think they're both gone with a new ownership. I think they're going to bring in somebody that I think they can do a better job.
You know, for my job, Dan, I present a lot of charts. You know, that's a big part of my work is I put charts. I put a bunch of numbers and I put them together in a pleasing fashion for people to look at that are easily legible and you can understand what's happening very quickly. I'm going to make a chart of Dan's feelings towards Rocco throughout this season because I believe the quote previously was, I wouldn't fire him if he's your manager of the future, is what you used to say.
I did
and
say
now
that,
you're like,
yeah.
I just don't really think he's that good. He's kind of like Sam Darnold, you know?
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
I don't know. It's hard. Would you keep... This is a long segment now. All of a sudden, we're having nothing to talk about. We're really talking a lot. Are you surprised? I guess I don't even know which question to ask you. Are you surprised he still has a job?
I'm surprised that he wasn't let go earlier. And I was very surprised to find out that they picked up his extension earlier in the season when they were performing so poorly. And I think you're right. I think, honestly, I would be shocked if new ownership comes in and things stay remotely similar to what they are now.
Yeah.
I think they're either going to make drastic cuts or we're going to see a transformation in the way that the Minnesota Twins organization is run bigger than we've seen in any sports franchise in Minnesota ever, I think. Because we don't see this that often. Like, when Wilf came in, there's only so much you can change, right? Like in the NFL with salary caps and all of the different stipulations and things. With baseball, dude, owners can do a lot of different things and make a ton of changes. And I just think that this franchise is primed to be revamped, made a more streamlined, aggressive baseball team than this sort of ho-hum approach of like picking up these guys who we hope can turn their careers around. Let's make some impact signings. We're in a division that's so weak. We're going to talk more about this a little bit later. It's so frustrating that we're not talking about the Twins being very close with the Tigers to lead the division. When going into the season, that's all anybody could write about is how the Twins were the favorites in the AL Central.
Yeah, Twins are 50-55. They're 4th place now in the Central. The Tigers, who have actually they've lost 8 of their last 10. They're still in first at 61-46, but they're 10 games up. And the Twins are now 5.5 back in the wild card, I believe, behind the Red Sox, who are coming to town next.
Let's keep going here. Minnesota moment for as many as there are.
Minnesota moment.
Okay, game 1, top 4. Zebby is perfect through 3. So we're entering the 4th inning. And this is my favorite thing that's happened in this series, I think, Dan, like just because there was nothing else of interest. But so here you have Luis Garcia at the plate. He hits a ball to deep right center field. Buxton is over there, and Buxton is all out, right? He is flying towards the wall because he knows, everybody knows Zebby's been perfect. If I have a chance to make this play, I'm going to make this play. I think there was a moment there where Byron Buxton forgot that he was human because that ball, Dan, hit 14 to 16 feet up on the wall. And I still think Byron Buxton was thinking, I got a chance. Like, that's what I think happened in this moment. And I just appreciate Buxton's understanding of the situation and doing whatever he can to try and make a play to keep that sort of ball rolling. But good on Buxton. I'm sort of joking, obviously. He knew he wasn't going to catch the ball. He actually made a really good barehanded play with the ball bouncing off the wall. But I just loved so much Buxton's wanting to make that play for Zebby, even though no human's making that play.
He's the heart of the team right now.
Yes.
The moment that I had is in the top of the 5th of game 2 when Brooks Lee makes an error. Now, you could argue that this play, and he's made mistakes like this before where he's maybe only gotten 1 out when he could have gotten 2, where the ball just like is stuck in his glove and he can't get it out. But this was costly that he couldn't even just get the 1 out at least, because then the series broke at that point. If you can keep that inning under wraps, or if you can keep that there, then maybe the Twins offense can get going. But once you're down by 5 runs in the middle of the game and you got your ace on the mound, and it's just very disheartening. So that was just kind of the pivotal moment, I thought, where the series turned.
Yeah, that's actually a really good segue here.
I just don't know how it can get any better.
Mauer's Musings.
Okay, so Brooks Lee, Dan, if you look at his game logs page and you kind of go through month by month, he has had a terrible July with a batting average of 123, an on-base percentage of 190, and a slugging of 140. So my math isn't the best, but that's not a good OPS, Dan. It's terrible. It's worse than Vasquez. Not good. Not good, Dan.
That's saying something there, yeah, especially coming from you.
Yeah, he has had, well, I know, the whole resurgence of Vasquez last series against the Dodgers was crazy. But my question is, Dan, we've seen him be really good in June. We saw him struggle in May. He struggled greatly so far here in July. And not just at the plate, Dan. Like, all we've talked about with Brooks Lee is how great he is in the field and how he's such a consistent fielder. He's had a lot of miscues in the field, Dan, and he's not performing at the plate. I'm just not sure. I don't know what he is right now. Because I hope he's not an Eddie Julian or a Jose Miranda, who we kind of thought were going to be centerpieces of this team, and now they're in AAA just sort of squandering their talented years away. What is the ceiling for Brooks Lee at this point, and what's his floor, which I think is the scarier question?
I think his ceiling's still pretty high. I do think that, his floor to me is a backup utility infielder, right? I think he's capable in the majors. I think we might forget that he's moved around a lot in the infield here this year. He's played third, he's played short, he's played second at various times. I do think that might be part of this, where he's just not been in a consistent spot. I think they're counting on him more than they want to count on him. You want him to be batting 7, 8, 9. And sometimes he's had to creep up a little bit more, or he's been kind of he had that hitting streak, 19 games earlier too. So he's also shown he can do this. I think he will get better. I am a little surprised they maybe haven't sent him down to Julian, but I think they must appreciate his professionalism, that they do think he brings flexibility and value there.
I want to build a championship culture.
Well, he's learning from the best right next to him. So I am not ready to give up on Brooks Lee just yet.
Okay, well, maybe let me ask the second part of this question. I think Keaschall comes back, and I think he could come back for this next series. Who are you sending down? Let's say you have to keep Deshaun Kersey.
Well, which you might if Buxton is hurt, yeah.
Well, okay, so who are you sending down now at this point if you're going to call Keaschall up, who you should call up? There is no reason at this point not to bring Luke Keaschall up. Who are you sending down in his place, Dan?
I think if they make no trades, then I think you probably need to send Brooks Lee down. But that, I think, is one reason why I wouldn't be surprised to see Willie Castro get traded here. Because then you have a spot for Keaschall to play regularly. He'll have to play in the infield, obviously. But everything with Buxton kind of complicates just how that would go. So I don't know. I guess I will answer your question and say I think Brooks Lee, because he hasn't played well for the last month.
It's kind of crazy, Dan. What do you have here for your musing?
Well, since you will be gone over the trade deadline, I thought I'd give you the chance to say your piece now. Which players would you trade away?
Sell the farm, Dan. I'm over it.
What? Okay, but how far down that farm list do you go?
I'm teasing a little bit. I'm just a little bit. I'm very frustrated, I think, with the way that this has gone, knowing that in my mind, the Dodgers series is going to be rough, but then you have some very winnable games here that the Twins have just not capitalized on. So at this point, Bader is the only one who I even waffle on. Yes, get rid of Castro, get rid of Coulomb. Nobody's going to take Vasquez, but if you can get rid of Vasquez, great. Like, everybody who's on a walk here at this point, let them go. France, you're not going to get anything for anyway. Like, it's just frustrating that these guys don't really have value. It was funny to hear Hogs criticize Griffin Jax just because he kind of made it sound like it was my fault that he was criticizing Griffin Jax. And I'm like, you're your own person, Hogs. I don't really understand what's happening.
Well, earlier you said he was saying everything that you thought, so maybe you are the same person here. I don't know.
But so my thought is, I don't think you trade away guys with team control. Don't touch Joe Ryan. That's dumb. Don't touch Duran. If you need to get rid of Jax because you're going to get a crazy return, maybe you let Jax go and then Varland becomes your 8-inning guy. Like, that's where I'm at this point. I think you sell anybody who's going to give you anything in return at this point. If you're getting a top 20 prospect from another org, take them. I don't care at this point because I don't think that anything is going to move the needle one way or another. Don't sell anybody who's going to potentially help you in a run next season.
I think I agree with you fundamentally. I also think that there's a chance you trade some of these guys and you don't get worse because you bring up Keaschall.
Exactly.
You could bring up Julian. Ober should be back soon. There's still concern, I guess, over the speed of his fastball. So, we'll see there. But it's possible. Even, heck, Mickey Gasper, Jose Moran. I mean, some of these guys could come up and play. I don't think they're going to do this, but I would almost just release Ty France. The Twins don't have a track record of doing this, though. Like Joey Gallo had that injury that he came up with there and like missed all of September. I could see them trying to do something. Yeah, so I don't think that the guy I would not trade actually is Bader because I do think that he's got some value. Willie Castro's been fine, but all the mental errors just kind of wear on me. And I can't, he can't be that much better than Luke Keaschall in theory. So I'm not ready to give up on the season, even if they make some trades, as long as they don't dip into the guys that are down the road, the Jacks, the Duran, and the Joe Ryans.
Again, Jax is just because it just seems like things just don't go well when he's on the mound often. I agree with you, though, on all of those other pieces. What's funny to me, Dan, is we just did that whole segment not mentioning Cody Clemens, who still is on this roster and is still producing.
Cody who?
I don't understand.
Who's Cody
That's
Clemens?
what I'm saying. It's like you forget. He was on first today, and I'm thinking...
Who's on first?
Who? Yes! Yes! I just was so confused. I keep forgetting that he's on this baseball team, Dan. But apparently he's part of the long-term structure for this roster, is sort of the plan at this point.
We should go forward here. We got to grade this series and look around the league.
Series grades.
Well, Dan, it's got to be an F. And honestly, you've given the front office every reason to believe that the season is over. You don't seem to be playing as though you're interested in trying to dig yourself out of this hole that you put yourself in. It's an F. You can't lose to these teams and expect to get a decent grade from me, Dan.
I didn't even go through the rubric, David. I'm going to be honest with you. I knew it was going to be a 0. I looked at it and I thought, well, they're going to get a 0. I mean, they're going to get a -2 on the pendulum, which translates back to a 1. Anyway, it was going to be a lot of math to get me to a single-digit number. So that's why I ended up with an F, David.
An F is what's deserved here, Dan.
Well, and have you ever, David, I think sometimes you're pulling a boat and you've got somebody on the back that's kind of been a little bit of they've been teasing you. They've been ribbing you. And I would argue that they deserve sometimes to be bounced off the back of that boat, David.
Okay.
But I will say this. If you haven't been launched off an inner tube at high speeds behind a boat, you probably didn't grow up in the land of 10,000 lakes. And there's good news because our new sponsor, Rave Sports, has all the water toys to upgrade your lake lifestyle. Whether you're looking to give the kids the ride of their lives, bounce somebody off an inner tube right off the bat, there's Rave's state-of-the-art hyper tubes, or you could chill out on the 4-person Big Easy. You could get a workout in on an inflatable Coda paddleboard. Rave Sports has all of these things covered. Make memories and make it the best summer ever at ravesports.com. And don't forget to use the promo code PULLTAB for 20% off your order. Rave Sports. Make waves.
I don't know, Jack. It looked like Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
Herbie's headlines.
It's Hall of Fame weekend. And Ichiro got inducted. There's been a lot around, obviously, these parts about Ichiro. He's a favorite, I think, of just about everybody. Ichiro got inducted. CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner. They were elected by eligible voters from the Baseball Writers Association of America, while Dick Allen and Dave Parker were elected via the Classic Baseball Era Committee. What a great time of year this is for baseball to celebrate. I can't think of anybody more deserving than Ichiro.
Well, a couple of people didn't find him deserving.
There was one guy who didn't find that to be the case.
Absolutely ridiculous. Do you watch any of this? Do you watch the speeches? Do you watch the inductions?
No, I will read. I'll read the stories about it, but I don't. I watch Joe's speech, obviously Joe Mauer's speech.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there.
It's different when you have such a close connection with a player who was with your team,
right?
But to pretend and I'm not going to watch CC Sabathia's Hall of Fame speech or whatever. It's just these things, they're cool, and I love to see who gets in, but I don't really care to watch the whole pomp and circumstance. There's no reason for me to be there to watch these speeches happen. I need to know who gets in. I don't need to know the details, Dan.
Isn't it one of those interesting things about our society where we ask people to give speeches a lot? Can't somebody just go up there and say, "Thank you very much"?
Yes.
And then leave.
Take their trophy.
That's not the expectation. You have to. Yeah. So as a teacher of rhetoric, though, David, I do like the speeches. I do like to see kind of what they do. And I make my students analyze a lot of speeches. And I'm sitting there at graduation. I've got a notepad, right? I'm taking down notes as they go. It's one of the joys of being an English teacher, David.
Oh, man.
Can't turn it off. You can't turn it off. It's like watching baseball. You can't turn off the analytical brain as you go.
Well, so we do have an interesting note here about A's rookie Nick Kurtz. He goes 6 for 6, Dan. 4 home runs, 6 runs, and 8 RBIs against the Astros. It's the 20th time this has happened in the MLB. It's the first time ever for a rookie. And then I had a longtime listener, Jeremy, reach out, and he sent this text, which I think summarizes things well. This was a post from OPTA Stats, and it says, since RBI became an official stat in 1920, only one MLB player has, over the course of their entire career, Dan, not the same game, over the course of their entire career, a game with 4 home runs, a game with 5 extra base hits, a game with 6 hits, a game with 6 runs, and a game with 8 RBI. The one player to do it who did it in one game is A's rookie Nick Kurtz.
Yeah, I mean, he was, I think, the 4th overall pick just last year. I mean, this is a young guy. We'll see. We'll see if these things hold up. But the fact that he's already on lists like that, pretty impressive. We talked about the Central a little bit, but the Tigers are 2-8 in their last 10.
Hang on, Dan.
Oh,
the reason I put this note
I see. I see why you brought this up. Okay.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there.
Last year about this time, Dan, the Tigers were 8 games back from the Central. And I said if I was a Tigers fan, I wouldn't stop believing. I would think that there's still a way that we could come away with a victory. And
with all due respect, sir, I believe this is going to be our finest hour.
We made a bet, Dan, and you foolishly said that you would send me to the gaming convention of my choice. I have reservations at St. Elmo's Steakhouse on Wednesday night. I'm very excited. I'm looking at the 90-day dry-aged ribeye, I think, is what I'm going to hit off that menu. Finish with a creme brulee, have a couple of beverages. Looking forward to it, Dan. But now, Dan, the shoe is on the other foot. How the turntables, as they say, Dan. The Tigers, Dan, 8 games up in the Central. The Guardians and the Royals are 8 and 8.5 games back, respectively. Do you think the AL Central is still in play? The Twins are only 10 back. I'm just throwing it out there.
Only 10 back, yeah. Well, in this case, don't sell, right? Stay in the race, guys.
As negative as I have been, the thing is, I don't believe that the Twins can come back because I don't think they're a very good baseball team right now. But if the Twins were better, they wouldn't be 10 games back. I don't know exactly how to say what I'm trying to say. If the Twins felt like a better team, I would have belief that they could turn it around. This season has shown me that I don't think they can with this current organizational lineup. My question is, Dan, is it possible the Tigers don't win the AL Central?
I mean, the trajectory is there. I just don't trust the 3 teams behind them to do a lot. I think AJ Hinch is probably the best manager in the AL Central. So I think they're going to find
Rocco, clearly.
Well, yes, clearly I would take Hinch over Rocco right now. Maybe we can make a trade there. I think they'll be okay. An 8-game lead is still a sizable advantage here, David.
It's a good sample size,
Dan. The gaming convention. This is like a great, really, we should stop thinking about the trade line. We should be thinking about your gaming convention trip as really the key turning point in all baseball seasons, I think.
Oh, absolutely, Dan. No question. Well, with that, Dan, let's go ahead and make our picks for the upcoming Red Sox series.
And we'll see you tomorrow night. Puckett's Picks.
I can't believe you're doing what you're doing right now, David. I cannot believe what you just did.
I put my Red Sox hat on it. It was a gift from you.
I know, but this is the series. You can't wear it, right? Like I didn't wear my Rockies hat last week, right? I'm not doing that. I did not buy a Dodgers hat because I felt like I just could not bring myself to do it. I did buy a little baseball, but I couldn't buy the hat. But this is near blasphemy, David, that you're putting this hat on right now. Puckett's Picks. The timing of this recording is a little bit annoying because we were recording right after the game. We didn't know anything about Buxton, but we have gotten an update. And David, you can't make this kind of stuff up. Byron Buxton is day-to-day with cartilage irritation in his rib cage, which is in his side, I believe, David. I'm not trained, of course, in these things.
I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school.
But he's day-to-day. But I had already made my pick, and so had the listeners. So here you go. How about you tell who the listeners pick?
Yeah, the listeners are going to take Lewis. Then it goes to you, Dan.
I'm picking my vice. I'm going with Matt Wallner.
Yeah, that's a moose.
I do love, he has like the coolest way to do the moose hands because he doesn't hold them up. He just does a quick touch of the helmet, It's as cool as you can possibly look giving a moose signal, I think, is the way that Matt Wallner does it.
His body type seems to look moose-esque as well. Kind of like long limbs. He put the lamp up there.
Yes, but a very cute moose. We call the boy moose go.
Maybe that's what's in his helmet. We've been wondering for years. It's like a moose musk or something like that.
Okay, sorry, you took Walter. I'm going to take Correa. And so Hogs, luckily, takes Buxton because the news comes out after we've made our picks. So congratulations for that. I do hope that you and Hogs have a nice time while I'm away. I hope I come back and the Twins are all of a sudden, they've won 6 games while I'm gone and they're back in it. But I'm having a hard time believing it, Dan. But I will, of course, be following. And I'm very excited to have the podcast to listen to on the long drive back from Indy.
Well, and speaking of, I think you should probably send us out.
Will do. Well, folks, if you like what you hear, please tell a friend. You can follow us on X at Min for the Win and find our Min for the Win Facebook and Instagram pages. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform so that you're notified when new episodes are available. And if you'd leave us a rating or a like, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show further, you can find us on Patreon. Link in the description. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Twin.
That'll wrap up another episode of Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, 2 avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Thanks so much for listening, and as always, go Twins.